Good morning. We're here in the J.D. Power POWERseat with Grad Conn, the General Manager and Chief Marketing Officer of Microsoft USA. Welcome, Grad.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
Good. We're thrilled to have you here at the J.D. Power Automotive Marketing Roundtable. A couple of quick questions. What's the primary message that you want to convey to AMR attendees? What do you want them to take away from your remarks today?
Well, all my remarks focus on sort of one basic idea, which is that in the world today, you've got to be a learner. And if you don't want to be a learner, that's okay, but don't expect to be employed. just manage your expectations accordingly, right? But if you want to, be moving ahead in your career, you want to have a great career, you want to have an interesting life, you have to be a learner. You have to be a voracious learner. You have to be an aggressive learner, and you have to be very curious about the world, because the current world is changing so quickly that if you don't stay apace, and if you don't stay curious, you're going to fall behind so quickly that you'll never catch up.
Do you think that people recognize that or is that something that they say, oh, gee, I guess I should be learning, or yes, I am learning. They just don't really know it at times.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that question because everybody's different. But I do notice that people have a habit of wanting to sort of reach a plateau and say, now I know it. Right? So the search for knowledge there's a double-sided sword, because there's a search for achievement, my diploma, my graduation, my moment. I'm done. Right?
I'm done.
Yeah.
Oh, everybody who's ever graduated from college has felt that.
Very seductive.
Yeah.
And I've now achieved this moment of great lucidity, and I know everything I need to know. And it's a little daunting to think that you are 1% away on your journey and you've got 99% to go. And when you reach the next plateau, you're at the next 1% and you've got another 99% to go. And people do find over time that they can get tired of that. I've noticed that. And so what you have to breed in yourself is just this innate sense of curiosity and wonder, and think about learning as like a habit in terms of the way you live, almost like a life skill, as opposed to something that you're doing in pursuit of something. It has to be the pursuit of learning, not necessarily the pursuit of knowledge. Because part of learning is failing. Part of learning is not knowing something and saying, oh man, I was really stupid in that moment. That's learning as well.
Okay. What do you think is the biggest challenge that Microsoft USA faces, and from your perspective and from a marketing perspective, and how easy or hard is it to identify some of the solutions for the challenges that you identify?
Yeah, well, there are sort of plenty of challenges to go around. For us, because we're a commercial sales organization, we're very focused on our customers and what our customers are going through. So our customers' challenges are effectively our challenges. It's a mutual sort of shared set of challenges. And the challenge that customers are facing today, and from the CEO right down to the shop floor, is that digital transformation is fundamentally altering industry after industry after industry. People like to predict the future. I'm always a little nervous about predicting the future, but the past does tell us that companies are moving out of the S&P 500 and the Fortune 500 more rapidly today than they were 30 years ago. And the prediction is it's going to be even faster in the future. We'll see. But nonetheless, more companies are expiring, and people can see that all around. And they're often expiring because they're being disintermediated by digital technology. And so where at one point people tended to look at computer investments and technology investments as a sort of the devil I have to live with. It's gonna have to be. I gotta have like computers. I gotta have some machines. Because we have to have some places to do our productivity. But it was seen as like an investment I had to make. Now people are looking at it as strategic to the future of the enterprise. And so what we've seen is that people have moved from being like IT decision makers, kind of controlling the whole process, to now the whole buying committee and the whole board is involved in IT decisions as they think about how they're going to digitally transform their company. So the challenge is, to a certain extent, you're trying to predict the future, which is super, super hard.
Yes.
Right? Like there's a long list,
risky,
hard, and a long list of failed predictions. But you have to think about, how is my industry going to change, and who may be the disruptive entrant, and can I be my own disruptor? And what's really interesting on Microsoft, and one of the things that's been really fun, I've been at Microsoft for 11 years. So I kind of joined Microsoft in the pre-cloud era and have been there through the beginning of the cloud. I launched the company's first cloud product.
Okay.
So that was very cool. And then worked the Ray Aussie and kind of out of the Virginia Blue facility, and off we went. And then we started to sell it, and today it's the majority of our business. And that's an amazing transition for a company the size of Microsoft to go through, but it required a tremendous amount of risk taking and a tremendous amount of foresight, particularly by Bill and Steve, to really understand where the future of computing was going. And there's a parallel universe where they didn't do that, and Microsoft probably wouldn't even be in business now. Like the company would be that close to not even being around if Bill and Steve hadn't made these super gutsy investments, like basically 10, 11 years ago.
And by Bill and Steve, you mean Bill Gates and Steve Ballmer?
Steve Ballmer, yeah. Particularly Steve, because Steve had to sort of take on the mantle of the CEO when Bill left in about 2007, I think. And what was challenging for Steve was that he needed to bridge the company from its sort of second business model. So the first business model was the DOS model.
Right.
The second business model was the Windows Office model. To the third model, which is the cloud model we're on now. And so Steve had to make these multi-billion-dollar investments under massive negative pressure from the press and from Wall Street. Like our stock stayed flat for almost a decade. And people kept saying, why are you investing in bank? Well, what they didn't understand is that Steve was building out a global infrastructure for the Azure cloud, which is the biggest cloud on the planet now. And so, but to do that was very hard. And Steve really took it on the chin a lot. And we owe where we are today to the decisions Steve made. And I do know that in a lot of companies, the way we're structured in the company, Steve and Bill were able to maintain clarity of vision despite the rapids that they were in, more than a lot of other companies. A lot of other companies would have failed to push through that time, and so you can see that having gone through our own digital transformation, I can see how hard it's going to be for our customers. And so what we're trying to do is how can we be a partner in helping make that happen, share our story.
Well, that's a great story. So
no one has written that story. People love to sort of write the story they want to write, but the Steve Ballmer saving the future of Microsoft story, someone's going to write that book one day. It'll be one of the greatest business books ever written. He did an amazing thing, and he sacrificed a lot to make it happen, and people don't appreciate that.
Interesting. Well, Grad Conn, thank you for being with us today in the JD Power Seat.
Thanks.